So let's call it ESXi2 host. Then it's going to be host 1, 2, 3, all right? And then let's put in the IP address 2.16 for the CVM and 2.13 for the Hyper-V. Okay, I think we're good. Let's validate, and we're good to go. Single hypervisor. Right, so remember, whenever we're re-imaging, we need to re-image both. So if you need to choose one, you need to choose both. So you can see the current install EOS is 5506, and 5506 is exactly what we want to install. So if you even if you already have 5506 installed, you still need to select an image. So if I can select an image, you can see in my case this is already here because I've uploaded it on my previous the last time I set up this cluster. So I am allowed to use this. I don't have to re-upload it again, as long as assuming it is exactly the correct version that I want. If you don't see this on the list, then you can just manage it and upload it. For the hypervisor, I'll need to choose the ESX, and then you can see that there are no images, so I need to manage and upload. Yeah. So choose the VMware ESXi image, make sure it is a Dell customized version, and upload it. Remember, the one thing to remember about this screen is that remember that if you choose one image, then you have to choose the other. As long as you choose one, if you want to image one of the items, you have to image both of the items. So there's no, you can't say I only want to change the hypervisor here from to ESXi, but I want to keep this the same, so I don't choose. Nope, you still have to choose, because as soon as you image the hypervisor, the CVM will be wiped out. So therefore, you need to provide the image so that the CVM can be placed back again, even if it's the same version. Okay, so I've chosen the Nutanix 5506 ESXi with this image. Let's start. Right. Again, you have to drop down this list and check and select this item, right? Because if you don't, and you just leave the one that you automatically selected for you, click start, it will say that you haven't selected one yet. So you actually have to drop this down and select it here. Right, and then yes, that will be it. You can see validating image session. This message is supposed to stick there for longer, but unfortunately it disappears. And then you're left wondering, why didn't it do anything? Right. See, it's disappeared, but it hasn't gone on to the actual imaging yet. So you just wait for a few minutes. Eventually the system will say, okay, validation is successful, then it will move on to the imaging. Right, so that's all there is really. So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and do it right now, because we will need the machines, all these machines, to be on ESXi by tomorrow morning. Right, see, validation successful, starting imaging. Then it will flip over to the progress bar. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so I really like this course because we actually get to cover all three hypervisors, at least touch on them a little bit. So it's quite fun to be able to get through all 3 hypervisors in one class. But you don't really get to do much with it. So hopefully tomorrow we are using ESXi because we discovered that that is the most familiar hypervisor for most of you guys. The majority of you are relatively familiar with VMware because that's what you work with the most. So that's why we decided to go there on ESXi, and then we're doing the replication lab on ESXi and showing you the results on ESXi because that's the most familiar to you. It doesn't mean that the same labs can't be used in the other hypervisors. They can, but if we do it in those hypervisors, then you don't really know what to expect and what to look for. So that's why we switch over to hypervisor last so that we can do replication. I mean, we switch over to ESXi last so that we can do replication on ESXi. Then you can actually see how replication impacts where the VMs are hosted and how does it move